Welcome to Hear Me Out podcast, your host, Dr. Jackie. Today I'm going to be walking through just some of the things that I aspire to create in this space, and then also my story as well. We got to get to the nitty gritty because there's a lot of things in audiology that we need to work on. And if I have to be the vessel that starts that change, then I will. So the purpose statement, I just want to start off with the purpose statement for Hear Me Out Audiology. It is to expose and create meaningful change within the field of audiology. And that is so that we're in order to grow this field, because we all know that there is a shortage of audiologists. And so if there's anything I can do with just the words that I share and the things that I just bring to you all, it's going to be worth taking the time to do. And so I just want to be able to grow this profession, and so we can help those who need us the most. So welcome. My name is Jackie Jewett. I am actually Dr. Jackie Jewett now, as of May 2023. And so it has been a journey. Let me tell you, it has been a journey, and it has been one that God is still working on me and still working me through some things. But we're here today. We're going to talk about audiology. We're going to talk about where my journey has taken me thus far, and then how I can reach back and help those that are looking to join the profession, just want to know what audiology is. They're scared because they can't hear no more, or whatever it is. So I want to be the one that is kind of there to comfort you as much as I can, even though we may not be able to be face to face. Walk you through different things, different scenarios, and even for my students that are still currently going through the programs, I'm here to be a resource, helping out with praxis prep, because baby, we don't got none. We have none. We have one practice test, and if you can't pass it off of that, baby, you on your own. So I want to be that vessel that can help the next generation. I want to be the one that can help bring close that gap, because there's definitely a gap. We can go down all of that. So hear me out, because we got a lot to talk about. I graduated from the Illinois State University in Bloomington Normal audiology program back here May 2023, May 12th, 2023. Walked across that stage with my 9 other cohort members. We were 10 in and 10 out, okay? We all made it through, and I'm just so grateful to have been a part of our cohort, and just like seeing where everybody is headed, and just kind of knowing that we always got each other's back no matter what. If we got a question, we can go to each other. So outside of audiology, I am also a nail guru. You may see my nails. They're going to change. Just keep an eye out for the nails throughout the videos. I love nails. I had a passion that started back actually. I've always loved nails, but my actual nail business, I established it and made an LLC, everything during COVID, actually right before COVID hit. So when nail shops were shut down, like people were like, oh my God, I need my nails done. I had press-ons. So I started out with a manufacturer who I would create the designs like on like drawing, and then he would make them and then send them to me, and that's kind of how I started my business. But then as I grew and my business grew, my clientele grew, people wanted more like custom things that they would see on Pinterest or, Instagram or wherever. And so me being someone who has always done nails, like in the past, I've done my own nails. I had an obsession when I was in middle school where I would paint my nails literally every day. And so I grew that passion into just painting press-ons. And so during the pandemic, when people weren't really comfortable going to nail shops and things like that, press-ons really became like a big thing. Whereas I saw a lot of people, jump on the press-on wagon, and then it kind of fizzled out. I am very grateful that Nailed It has not fizzled out. Definitely got a lot of still very, very strong clientele, and then people that are just constantly wanting to support me. So outside of being a doctor of audiology, I am also a doctor of nails. I do really love press-ons. I love to be able to express myself creatively through them. This set was actually my Little Mermaid inspired set, so yeah, also like to do hair. As you can see, my hair is braided today, but tomorrow it might be straight, because I like to do my own hair. So if I wake up one day and I'm like, I think I want bow locks today, I can do it. So that's just another passion that I have. So hair, nails, makeup as well. I had to, pull something on for this video. So makeup, I will do my makeup, I will do my hair, I will do my nails. If there's anything I can't do, I haven't really thought of it yet. Change a tire. I can't change a tire, but I'm sure I could figure it out if I wanted to. So, my family, they look at me and they're like, girl, what can't you do? And I'm like, I don't really know what I can't do, but I know I can do a lot of things. And if I put my mind to it, it's going to be great. So, that's just a little bit about me. This first episode, I just wanted to talk about my journey into audiology. How did I even get to audiology? What is audiology? So we'll kind of dive into that a little bit and then kind of wrap up with where we want to go in the next episodes and the next seasons and things of that nature. So my journey to audiology was pretty, I guess you could say, typical for those that have started in a program and then like graduated and everything like that. So first of all, way back, I grew up with a cousin who is deaf, and I say deaf as in capital D deaf. She's a part of the deaf community. She uses American Sign Language to communicate without amplification, which I 100% wholeheartedly respect. She from what I know, she's older than me, so she's had hearing loss pretty much her entire life, and something that just always intrigued me as to, how is it that I can hear everything? I can hear when my mama was yelling at me to not doing something, or they was, kids was running around outside and I could hear that, but she couldn't hear it. Like, it just didn't make sense to me. And so I've always had this like in the back of my mind of like, why is that? Like, why can some people hear and why can some people not hear? So that was always something that was just like interesting to me, and I just wanted to find out more. And so with that, it just kind of sparked a passion in me to also want to work with the deaf and hard of hearing community. And so I just kind of figured out a way. I didn't really know what I wanted to go into, and being a first generation college student, I didn't really know a lot about majors and like how to get there. I knew where I wanted to get to. I wanted to be something that was working with deaf and hard of hearing people, but I didn't know really the steps to get there. So I kind of had to work backwards and figuring it out and finding it. And so I completed high school and then ended up going to Purdue University in West Lafayette, Indiana, Boiler Up. And there I started in the speech language and hearing sciences major, stuck it through, and it was probably the best thing that I could have ever done. At Purdue, I met so many great people, so many great resources. I had so many opportunities that I knew that had I gone to like a community college or anything like that in the area that I grew up in, I would likely not have had those opportunities. And so I'm just so grateful. I'm so blessed that I had the opportunity to go to Purdue University and get my education there. So while I was at Purdue, I did major in speech language and hearing sciences. And so with that, I was in a lot of classes that were how we would typically describe speech focused or like speech language pathology focused. A lot of them focused on preparing you basically to go into either speech pathology or audiology. Audiology is not represented very well, and that is another battle that I will fight one day. But as of right now, how most programs are structured is that there's a few classes in audiology, but majority of them are speech pathology. And so when I was in there, I was surrounded by a lot of women that wanted to be speech pathologists. So I was like, maybe I want to be a speech pathologist. I don't know. I did some shadowing. My godbrother had ended up going through speech therapy, and I remember going to one of his sessions and they did his hearing test first. I didn't know why at the time. I didn't know why. But they did his hearing test first, and I saw that testing a child is a lot different than testing an adult who can follow the directions that you ask them. So they did his hearing test. He did great. Everything looked good. He went over to his speech path appointment, and there he he started his sessions. And so I saw that, and to me it wasn't really what I was really wanting. We'll talk about it later. So as I went through my undergrad career, I had one course in my freshman year that touched on audiology for about 3 minutes. And I won't never forget this professor, because he retired like the semester after he taught our class. And so he was just telling us about audiology and like what audiologists do. And I was like, that sounds interesting, because keep in mind, I had always had this lingering thought in the back of my mind of why could, I hear, but Brittany couldn't hear, that my cousin. And so when he got to explaining audiology and like things like that, I was like, wait, so I could be the person like testing someone's hearing and like figuring out why they have the hearing loss, or like giving some sort of indication as to why. I was like, oh yeah, that's it, that's the one. So from that moment forward, I was like strictly straightforward audiology. Everybody else around me was like, we're gonna do speech, and I was like, I'm audiology, I don't care. So I stuck to it, I really did. And then during my freshman year, so during that time, my mom had been diagnosed with cancer in I think it was a junior in high school. So going off to college, I didn't really get to see her a lot, and she had got she was sick, but it was kind of seeming promising that she was going to be recovering and everything like that. And then the last time it came around, it was too much, and it was a lot. So from that, I remember her being on a chemotherapy, and it made her tongue really thick. And so when I had told her, I was like, yeah, I'm going to go into audiology, and like that's what I'm going to do. And then I told her, I was like, I'm going to be an audiologist. And she was trying to like say it back. And her tongue was thick. So she was like, audiology. Like she couldn't get the word out, but I knew she knew what I was saying. So that was something that I've always kept in my mind, that no matter what, oh Jesus, I just always kept in my mind that I was going to finish it. No matter what happened, no matter what obstacles came along, I was going to finish it, because that was the last thing she knew that I was going to do before she passed. And so to me, it was a no-brainer. Like I had to finish the degree and get to the point of where I'm at now. So yeah. So that was my first year, and then I just kind of progressed. I ended up actually graduating from Purdue in 3.5 years. So I was able to kind of finish up my degree a little bit earlier in 3.5 years. So I ended up going on a study abroad trip to India, where I was able to just kind of see how audiology and speech pathology worked in a different country. And so 2 of my professors who were from that area, they put together this entire trip. They literally put everything together. So Mr. and Mrs. Dr. Krishnan is what we called them on the trip. And so they were amazing. They literally took us everywhere. Like we learned so much on that trip. That really solidified me going into audiology. Like I had already started applying, but like that, I was like, oh, it's a no-brainer. Like of course I'm going into audiology. And so we went on that trip, and they were just amazing at just showing us audiology. We had our buddies, we had everything. Like it just felt so good. So that was my trip. It was study abroad in undergrad to India. We ended up going to see the Taj Mahal, which was beautiful, and it was like literally, like you see the picture on like Google screensaver, it literally looked like that. Like it looked like a screensaver, but you were actually looking at it. It was crazy. So that was amazing. So then fast forward, graduated 3.5 years. So that was that, right? So then after graduation, I had a semester before I could start in my audiology program. So what I did was I shadowed at a practice in Lafayette. I stayed in the area, but I shadowed at a practice, got a lot of hands-on, and just like seeing how a clinic actually runs, because I really didn't get the opportunity to see a lot of that. I wasn't as proactive as I should have been in undergrad, but needless to say, we're here now, Dr. Jackie, right? I had to apply and then do interviews and all the things, right? So this is where the obstacles started coming, because baby, there have been a lot of obstacles to get me to this point. There's still obstacles, but we're still making it. So the first one, I applied to 7 schools. 7. I was accepted immediately to 1. I was waitlisted at 2 of them, and then the rest, they just said, no, that's okay. Which is fine, because God put me where he wanted me to go. That's where I was supposed to go. So I went to ISU, got there, met the very first black audiologist that I've ever seen in my life. Black and a male, and he would be my professor. Like, that was just mind-blowing. Like, what? So yeah, so Dr. Joseph, he was definitely there, helped me through a lot of things. He was the advisor on my capstone project. Like, he's a great resource, and I just hope that one day I'm gonna get him on this podcast. One day, we'll see. But he was a great resource to me. He's a great resource to other audiology students. I was the only black person in my program. Yeah, I was in the program the first year. I was the only one, and then after me there has been at least one other that has come through in the other cohorts. That's the word. So my cohort kind of started that, and then after that there's been at least one in each cohort after me. So that was happy. I was happy to see that. While in my program, so got to ISU first year, you know, didn't really know what I was doing. Tried my hardest to like grasp things, but I think I've come to the conclusion that I just learn differently than other people, I'm assuming. I don't know, but I mean, once I learn it, like I know it, like it's good, but it might take me a little while to learn it, or I have to learn it in a different way than most people do, I think. And so there was a lot of obstacles, and you know, I had incidences in the program that I feel that other students didn't have to go through. Which is fine, because it built me to be the woman that I am now, who will literally not take crap from anybody. Like, I don't care who you are, you're not going to talk to me like I'm less than. So you know, I had a preceptor that for whatever reason felt that she could talk to me any kind of way and try to fail me, and you know, all the things, but really gave no explanation as to why she had those things on those grading reports. Nothing, no evidence to really back it up, but she did what she did, and that's fine, and I hope she's doing well. But just know that I'm Dr. Jackie now. It just grew me to be a stronger woman, and I'm someone that's going to stand up for other people that may not have that voice yet, and I want them to see that we are in a profession where people are going to try you, but you have to make sure that you stand on what you say. You can say it professionally, but they need to know that they cannot just talk to you any kind of way. We're all human. We're all adults at this point, and so we can do that. So another obstacle, right? COVID, smack dab in the middle of my program. Really not in the middle. It was the beginning, because it was at the most crucial part that I was just like, bro, are you serious right now? So yeah, COVID hit literally at the end of my first year, but it was really like that second semester where you're over the hump of like getting into clinic and knowing what to wear and knowing how to ask case history questions and all those things. But like, then second semester comes and they're like, okay, we about to, like, you need to learn this stuff. So we had to switch to Zoom and learn all of this pertinent information on Zoom. I mean, we did it, and our professors did as best of a job as they could, but like, none of us knew what we were doing. Like, we were like, oh my God. I remember sitting in my room after a class that we had on Zoom, and I just bawled, because I was like, I don't understand any of this. Like, I think we were talking about like ABRs and ASSR and like all this, you know, like it's not just simple stuff to know. Like, you really got to understand that stuff to know how to read the waves and know what structure is being, you know, picked up at this way. Like, all of that stuff, when I tell you, I bawled crying. And like, I'm not a person that likes to ask for help, but in that moment I had to email my professor, and I was like, I don't understand any of this. I'm going to fail. I don't get it. And he literally like scheduled a completely different Zoom, and he was like, thank you for reaching out, because like, I didn't want to have to reach out to you, but like, I could tell you were struggling. And so I appreciate ISU. They did their thing with me. I'm sorry. ISU, one thing about them is they care about their students, okay? It may be in the middle of nowhere, but I promise you, you're gonna get a quality education there, and great investment if you play your cards right, okay? So yeah, so then fast forward a little bit more, it's time to apply for externships, and I knew where I wanted to be because I had this like dream in my head of like living in Atlanta, and it's like the black Mecca, the black Hollywood, and I'm gonna see, you know, I'm work with black professionals. And I had looked up where I was at, and there was a black physician, and I was like, oh, it was a woman too. I was like, oh, I have to be there, like that, hands down. I don't care what nobody say, I'm gonna be there. And turned out that I got accepted there. I did the interviews and everything, made it there, had a wonderful experience. My externship taught me so much. I will forever be grateful for all of the audiologists that poured into me. My supervisor, she was amazing. Even though there was a lot of difficult times just within business and the practice, our audiology department held it together no matter what. Like we held it down. So I definitely think that that is a practice. If God ever calls me back to Atlanta, that I definitely want to settle back there. So then it was time for graduation. So I graduated on May 12, 2023 at 4:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. Yes, I still know it because I look forward to that day. I looked forward to it. I don't care. It was an amazing time. My line sisters, they flew in from Seattle, from Florida, from Texas, drove up from Indy, from Maryland. They pulled up, okay? My family that I didn't even think was going to come, like, they showed up, surprised me. It was an amazing, amazing time. Like, it was more than I could have ever imagined. I had these shoes, though, y'all. Like, this is a PSA. Walk in your shoe. They might be sitting shoes. They might not be walk across the stage shoes, okay? I did it though. I did it. Them shoes did not come off. I gripped them with the soles of my feet, but they didn't come off. So I just had to show you, like, there's the shoes. This was just monumental. Dr. Joseph hooding me, and then a picture of us on stage. Again, very monumental. Walk in your graduation shoes before you walk across the stage, because and wear something that's a little cooling, you know. Don't wear nothing that, because it was hot, like hot. Like, I was dripping sweat by the time I got back to Chicago where my party was the next day. I was like, I need to take a shower because I stink. That is kind of my journey. I'm here now, creating podcasts. Life has been lifing, to say the least, but I'm grateful to be here now, and moving forward. I kind of ran through how I got to the point that I'm at now, and you may be wondering, so what are the steps to becoming an audiologist, right? So I'm gonna just break them down real quick, just so you have them if you're taking notes and you want to like refer back to it, okay? So first, you got to attend undergrad. It doesn't have to necessarily be in like a communication sciences, disorders, or speech, language, and hearing sciences background. Although it may help you a little bit, but it's not necessary to have that background, because once you get into the doctorate program, you're going to learn all the stuff that you need to know anyway. So the requirement is just to have a undergraduate 4-year degree, and then you apply to another 4-year graduate program, which is a doctorate program. So you will have to dedicate 4 years of your life to this. Just keep that in mind. And then, so after you complete the undergrad, sometimes you have to take a couple of courses, like as prerequisites, but it kind of depends on the program that you apply to. So I would just look at their website and see what they require. Then you apply to your programs. Just keep in mind that you're going to need letters of recommendation, your transcripts, things of that nature. You're going to have to write some things, some prompts, answer some questions about yourself. You have to do interviews, and then you kind of get into the program. So then you'll get accepted into a program. Congratulations. And then you start this program. Again, it is a 4-year program. Some are 3 years, but you're still getting 4 years of curriculum. Like, the curriculum doesn't change if you go to a 3-year or a 4-year program. It's just how much time you have to complete it. So you can think about that as well if you want to kind of fast track it. There are some 3-year programs out there. In your 4th year, or sometimes if you're at a 3-year program, your 3rd year, you have externships. So you have to apply to those like a job. So some are paid, some are not paid. Personally, experience doesn't pay the bills. But if you are in the predicament, if you are blessed to have the financial resources to take on a position for a whole year where you're not paid and you're learning things, by all means, go for it. I was not in that predicament, still not in that predicament, will never be in that predicament. That's just my personal opinion. I don't necessarily agree with experience being more valuable than eating, or paying bills. So we have to think about what works for us and what works in the real life. And so yeah, keep that in mind. So externships, some are paid, some are not paid. I do plan on doing another video that just kind of walks through more deeply on where you can find externships, how you can get them, who you can contact, things like that. And maybe we could talk about like some like tips or whatever. I don't know. I'm not the expert, but I could give you what I know. So, and then you finish your externship for a full year. You will then have to take an exam to obtain your license. You can still graduate in most programs, but to practice, if you plan to go and practice in a clinical setting, you have to take an exam called the Praxis exam. It's an online based exam that supposedly covers all things audiology. We'll get into that as well in another video later down the line, but that's what you'll do. And then graduation and all that can be interchangeable, but those are kind of the steps on how to becoming an audiologist and then making a difference in people's lives. So that is all for today's episode. I want to say that this was rewarding. It felt good to talk to a camera, but I have a lot more in me. I have a lot more to say, so I hope that this is something that you all find interesting. It's definitely not something that's been done like consistently, so at least not that I can find. So I hope to fill that gap and feel the need to have more conversations about this profession, how we can grow it, how we can get more people involved, how we can get more people into it, and just knowing how to take care of their hearing, and then those that maybe are experiencing hearing loss, how can we navigate that. So hopefully I can be that vessel that just kind of brings that all to you all. So I just want to say, leave a comment below if you have any suggestions on what you want the next episodes to look like. If you have a specific topic you want to talk about, or you want me to touch on, or if you want me to bring somebody in, it will probably be virtual, but I can still do it. Leave it in the comments below and let me know how you like this one and what you want to see next. Be sure to like and subscribe. I never thought I would be the one saying this, but yes, please like and subscribe if you want me to keep on doing this, because there was somebody that you believe may need this. Share with someone that you think would benefit from this, and then we gonna see where it goes. I think it's gonna be something that's gonna be very meaningful and helpful for this community. And so I love audiology. I love everything about it, and I know that we're gonna make a change with this here podcast. So that's all, folks. Hear me out, because we got a lot to talk about.